Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me! So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list!
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? It is All in Football on FTN Fantasy. It is week 7 waivers. We're already past the third waypoint. Sure, that sounds good. If you want to, you know what else sounds good? Go over to the FTN. Code all in, get you 20% off. You can check out Stepmom Moore and Chris Meany, all the good stuff. You're making money if you're following Chris Meany. Hockey. How about my Rangers? Looking good. Lauren, you said it's a bad week for bye weeks. Buffalo, the Rams, the Vikings, the Eagles. Good. Yeah, it might be the worst one outside of the 6-team bye week, which is really late into the season, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it stinks. I mean, I wrote a waiver article today, and I was going through the available options for tight ends. There's a lot of really good tight ends that are on a bye this week. That sucks.
We talked about that yesterday, Lauren. Are you team where Chris and I made the case, and we've been on this for a couple of years, we said, screw the tight end position. It should be tight end / wide receiver. So are you on that too? It's a short version. Everybody wants to go back and watch yesterday. I don't want to spend another 5 minutes on it, but are you on that board? Or because especially like you said, this week you're talking about what? Bellinger?
Yeah.
Like, this is what, okay. So you're on that team? Well, yeah, if Cameron Brate's out, Dulcich was good.
Yeah.
Looks great. Which,
where'd you go, Salbert?
I thought it was like Doncic. I thought it was Dulcich, but it's Dulcich.
Dulcich,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like make up your mind, guys. Make up your mind. So anyway, we're gonna talk waivers. I am
on that team though, by the way. In fact, I'm all about the full flex. I say tight end, wide receiver, running back.
I have one league. Flex. I have one league where I start one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, and then 6 flex.
Yes, I'm also in a very similar league.
Yep. And then one of them is actually, so technically 5 flex and 1 super flex. Because then it's like, do whatever the hell you want. Create your own team. Do your own madness. Speaking of madness, like you said, tight ends are gross. If you're looking for help for running back, Lauren, it's gross this week. It is bad. It is when the top 3 names are Deon Jackson, Latavius Murray, and Kenyan Drake. This is how bad it's been out there, or how bad it's going to be. The Deon Jackson one is simple. We don't need to spend a lot of time on that. He came out, showed he can be the bell cow. If Jonathan Taylor's back, he's a high-end backup. If Jonathan Taylor's out, you know you got an RB2. Done. The 2 interesting ones are, it's the return. You know what? Halloween's coming. This is good, because raising from the dead. We got it. Latavius Murray, Kenyan Drake are back in the discussion, Lauren. The Monday Night Football misery continues from last night. By the way, we get the Chicago Bears next Monday night. Yay! And the Patriots. Yay! So, Latavius Murray last night. So, Melvin Gordon was out there to start. Then, second half rolls around, and he's gone. He's just standing on the sideline.
I've never seen a more sad-looking human being on the sidelines.
I was going with
Melvin
bewildered.
Gordon.
I was going bewildered.
It was. It was a combination of bewilderment, but like the utmost sadness. In fact, they showed a clip of him when he was sitting on the sidelines, and he played for the Chargers. So this is, I mean, granted, it's not a home game.
He's already faced them 17 times at this point.
In a different stadium. I know, but there's still a revenge narrative there. But he's just sitting, looking around at the crowd like, how am I not in the game? Like, it was just the weirdest thing in the world. All of my pick'ems and slates for Monday night just blew up in my face because there was no Eric Saubert. There was no Melvin Gordon. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, I just don't trust these Thursday night and Monday night games anymore.
Did you actually see my tweet? The most yards, the top 10 in yards last night for that game. Leading the way at punts at 499 yards. Herbert had 247. Wilson had 211. Broncos penalties, 151. Just pass interference, 108. Chargers penalties, 89. And then you get to check in with Austin Eckler at 83. That's how bad last night was.
And that was so frustrating about it was like if you just looked at the box score And then you look at like the actual yardage that was there is a huge discrepancy there because most of the actual yards that got them first downs were on penalties. Like it wasn't off of production. It was so irritating.
You know what? We talked about the tight end thing. Are you on board with, can we get half pass interference for fantasy, or maybe even a quarter pass interference for a wide receiver gets taken down 40 yards downfield, the 40-yard pass interference play, like a quarter or half of it goes to the wide receiver and the quarterback. They get some of those yards since it's completely taken away.
I'm all in. I'm all in. See what I did there? I like that idea. That's always so frustrating when you get this like 40-yard bomb downfield. And it's a pass interference call, which is great for the team, but not great for your fantasy. So maybe.
And it's not even just the ticky-tack ones. It's like the ones where they just drag them to the ground because they're like, hey, guess what?
Exactly.
I'm screwed.
No, I'm all about do half of whatever those yards would have been, or if you want to do, if it's half PPR, do half.
I love seeing Mr. Nice Guy guys band kickers t-shirts. I told everybody on last Wednesday's show with Lauren, it's like, tweet me pictures of wearing the shirt. I want to share them to everybody. I'll retweet them for everybody. Nobody's like, you got these free shirts. I sent out 10 of them. I have the same
thing. On my own show on Fireside Friday, I mailed out a winner for my DeAndre Swift mini helmet. Yes, I have Warriors on the show.
The band kickers?
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm forgetting. My memory's already going out the window.
No, I wore it. Trust me, I wore it for you. Don't even wear it. And I'm sending out a Michael Thomas jersey today. So I want whoever gets it, sir, please wear it. Send a picture.
I'm sorry I don't remember it. Thank you, Lucy. You look so good today.
Well, I was going to wear it today. But Dustin Hopkins had quite the game. So I decided to just not
good
put that
for
there.
those people out there who randomly fell into that one. So let's get back to Latavius Murray. He's up there, but he's only up there for, this is what I said, Lauren. He's up there in case he's the new lead. The answer might just be D, none of the above. Like, you don't want any of the three because Mike Boone looked explosive last week, got some snaps in Monday Night Football, but was mostly the passing game and didn't get very many targets. I think it was 4 or 5 at the most and didn't do anything with them. You mentioned Melvin Gordon looked sad being benched, but is it a message being sent? It wasn't like a fumble. It sounded like he was losing fumbles again. So it's kind of a weird. Do you go after Latavius Murray just in case he's the lead? But do you kind of do it like if you have Fab, or you kind of like, I'll throw $3 out there if I get him, cool. If not, here's a good one, Lauren. With that question, would you drop somebody like Antonio Gibson to go get Latavius Murray?
That's a really good question. And my answer is yes. So I don't think it was last week, but the week before that when we were talking about the signing of Latavius Murray over to the Broncos and he was on the practice squad. And I said, if anyone can clip that for me and post it on social media so that I can get this right. But I believe I said that he's going to be very fantasy annoying and fantasy relevant because he knows how to score touchdowns and he gets involved. So I'm okay with Latavius Murray. In rest of season, okay with Latavius Murray. I don't love him as my RB2, but if you're in a desperate situation with bye weeks, you may not have a choice. But as a flex option, I don't mind it at all. Latavius Murray just has a way of doing it. He will be touchdown dependent, but he's still going to get you enough volume that he's not going to goose you like someone like Mike Boone just did. But what I find so fascinating is that there wasn't really that 50-50 split that we normally come to associate with the Broncos. Melvin Gordon was nowhere to be found. Mike Boone was absent. And that was what the heck is going on after posting a total of 85 total yards last week? It was like, where did he go? And Latavius Murray got everything. It was really, really strange. So maybe this is a turning of the page when it comes to trying to figure out this offense for Russell Wilson. And maybe they're not going to be relying on a committee. I wouldn't mind having the piece that it looks like right now is going to be the, quote, lead, if you will. And I put that again in air quotes for everyone who is not watching. So I do like Latavius Murray. It's riskier-ish, but I've had enough of Latavius Murray in my time playing fantasy football to know that he is not sexy, he's not super flashy, but he can get it done.
So if your choice was between Kenyan Drake and Latavius Murray, because the interesting situation with Kenyan Drake is J.K. Dobbins left the game with a knee aggravation. Obviously, we have the ACL. He's coming back from that. We don't know. This is only Tuesday, and we're not going to get word. It's interesting. I find this really interesting, Lauren. Last year, Tuesdays, we were getting a lot of information last year when it used to be Wednesdays, and now we're back to only the Wednesdays. Like, we're getting very little on Tuesdays. It's weird how we had that, like, 1 year. It's like, oh, this is nice. We're getting information on Tuesdays.
I feel like it's because last year was a COVID year. Like, a friend of mine he and I were talking about that. And it was like people tried to get information out as soon as possible because of the COVID situation. So I don't know. Maybe that's why it's different this year. But I agree with you. And like everybody freaks out on Wednesday because they're like, my player's questionable. I'm like, everyone's questionable on Wednesday.
Everybody, that's the other part of it. Everybody might as well be just listed as Q on Wednesday. But literally. So, Latavius Murray versus Kenyan Drake, and I'm going to pull one name into this. I'm going for Gus Edwards. If I don't need anybody right now, I am stashing Gus Edwards. He is close. The big part about this is, yes, he's coming back from an ACL, but the Ravens have been very patient and very slow with him coming along. And if Dobbins is banged up, Drake is Drake. Like, I understand, like, Dobbins doesn't play this week, but Drake also faced the Giants, who, give me 100 rushing attempts. I could get 5 yards, maybe, and not die. I'd probably die before I got to the 100th attempt. But you run against the Giants. But you also run against the Browns, and that's who the Ravens get this week. So would you go Drake or Latavius?
I think I would go Latavius Murray because of his rest of season potential. Because just like you said, I think I have a lot more faith in Gus Edwards being heavily involved when he's back. He's got his NFL legs underneath him, and he's basically taking things away from Kenyan Drake. So I'm going to lean Latavius Murray.
Without looking, do you know what Gus Edwards' yards per carry for his career are?
7.1.
No, it's not that high. It's 5.2. He's never averaged under 5 for a season in all of his 3 seasons. All right, so now let's turn this to 2 names that have been out there for multiple weeks. Cordero Patterson's still about, 1-2 weeks away. Tyler Algier is getting all the run, but Caleb Huntley is still doing a little bit more on his plays, but he's still about a third compared to 2/3 for Algier on the. So are you going Algier or Huntley, and would you take Latavius over both? This is going to be fun. This is basically be like Latavius versus everybody on the show. Would you go Latavius Murray, or would you go one of the Falcons running backs? And which one?
I hate this question because it's a really good one, but I'm going to go Latavius Murray. Like I said, it's for that rest of season potential because, as we know, Javonte Williams is gone. Cordell Patterson is coming back. So I don't know how much Caleb Huntley is going to be involved in that offense. So if I had to pick just from the Falcons, I would take Tyler Algier, but Latavius Murray versus both of them, I think I'll still go Latavius Murray. I don't like it, though. It tastes Patterson. Gross, as I say it.
This is how bad it is. We're excited to get Cordell Patterson back. Like, let's get us back an RB2 we can trust.
I love Cordell Patterson.
It's just that, what was that, week 2 or 3? Where was that game where it was like, oh, Cordell Patterson, like, Damian Williams is done. Like, Damian Williams is coming back. Like, the full-blown committee, and I'm so worried about that. Well, I'm hoping it's Cordell Patterson, but I don't trust the Falcons. Dude, they run 60 times a game. I guess there's enough touches to go around. But since we're talking about the Falcons real quick, I did see the question on there. And this isn't so much just for the question being Hurts is on a bye, so who do I pick up, Ryan or Mariota? The question I want to kind of turn this philosophically towards you, Lauren, is when you have a situation of Matt Ryan knowing that you might get 24, you might get 2, or you get Mariota who's probably just going to give you 13 to 16 every single week, the new version of what Tyrod Taylor was years ago. Do you go for the Tyrod Taylor, or do you Marcus Mariota in this case, or do you go for the it might be amazing, and it might be, you know what it might be.
Yeah, I think in this situation, I'll pick and choose my upside battles at other positions besides the quarterback. So I'm going to stick with Mariota. It's not flashy, it's not explosive, but it's there, and it's like I said, it's not going to be a 2. You never know when it could be a 24, but at least it's not garbage. So you can get something out of him, and then I'll be able to use the rest of my roster to fill with some high upside plays to make up for a little bit of deficit.
Okay. One more before we get to wide receivers. This is how bad a running back is. We're already done with running backs.
It's gross, everyone. It's nasty.
Stash. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say this in waiver column, and we do this on the show. Just a reminder, stash where you can. Mm-hmm. Drop Nyheim Hines. Those kind of guys. Like Nyheim Hines, even if Deon Jackson didn't happen, still had a cap ceiling because of who he is. I loved Kenneth Gainwell. His value is kind of like out the window. Even if Miles Sanders goes down, it would be Boston Scott. Yep. And Kenneth Gainwell's usage this year is just down. That was wrong. Like, I hoped he was going to break out and be like a complete timeshare. Didn't happen. Those kind of guys that you can find similar value on the waivers, drop for Rachaad White. Drop for Samaje Perine, Jalen Moore. Like, go get these now because look at what we're talking about. We're talking about Latavius Murray and Kenyan Drake. So go get, but of course, get Gus Edwards too. The last one is on a scale of 1 to 10, Lauren. How likely do you think Christian McCaffrey gets traded?
Oh, God. I'm at like a 7.5.
Really? I'm like a
Yes.
2. Really?
Really?
Opposite. Yeah, because I think they're asking way too much, and it's a world where like the NFL devalues running backs so much that Meany even said this yesterday. Nobody even trades first rounder or even takes first round running backs anymore. Barely ever happens. So that's where I'm like, I just don't think. I think the Panthers are warranted in asking what they're asking for. Well, first of all, the 3 first they're not warranted for, but like getting a first or a second or even maybe a second and a third or something like that, they're warranted because Christian McCaffrey is a top 5 running back. They deserve to say, I want this. But I'll compare it to fantasy, Lauren. I'll say it's like this. If you're sitting at 0-6 or 1-5 and you have Christian McCaffrey and you want full price from one of the playoff teams for Christian McCaffrey, you're not in a position to ask for that because you're just trying to survive. Nobody's going to give you what you deserve for Christian McCaffrey. And that's where I compare it. That's why I think maybe you're right, but I don't see the Panthers coming around on this.
And that's really that's the crux of it right there. Are the Panthers going to pull their head out of their butt and get more pieces that they need? They need so much help all across the board that you can get a lot of pieces.
They need picks
for Christian McCaffrey, including picks. They need a lot of help, and that is their number one asset that they have that they can really get a solid return on investment. So are they going to, cut off their nose to spite their face, shoot themselves in the foot, whatever? Are they going to be doing this to themselves, or are they going to come around and just realize that this is going to be the best opportunity for them to get better in the years to come because they're going to be in full rebuild with everything that's going on with their coaching staff? The whole Robbie Anderson situation. What?
Here's the perfect example. Look at last year. What was the perfect chance for the Giants to rebuild? And they kept Saquon Barkley. And look, it's working this year, and it's because Saquon Barkley is amazing. But it's working this year.
Brian Daboll has been doing really well too.
Well, of course. So that's why I'm saying Panther. I actually think it's more likely DJ Moore head somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
But that being said,
yeah.
That being said, would you stash Deonta Foreman over the Falcons running backs, over Rachaad White, Samaje, just on the off chance that Christian McCaffrey goes somewhere? Because here's my argument of why I wouldn't. I think it would be Foreman over Hubbard, but Hubbard's going to be involved. I think this is going to be a 60-40 split. So first of all, you're dealing with the timeshare, but you're dealing with a timeshare on a team. Christian McCaffrey's surviving because he's Christian McCaffrey. You put a split in this backfield, and I don't even care. Because you're always going to be picking the wrong one, too. It's oh, look, Hubbard snuck in for a touchdown, and then next week it's going to be Deonta Foreman. You know what it is? It's Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley. That's what it would turn into.
Exactly, and I would still rather have Tyler Algier.
Okay, so there you go. Last one, I would, but I don't want to have to clean this up. I would pour some water out. Just because pour some out for Cam Akers. Holy crap, that situation went sideways fast. First of all, he wasn't looking great, and he was getting time shared. But then all of a sudden, it's the thing is,
all hope I had for him is now gone.
Well, and that's the thing is, everybody's well, he's going to get traded. It sounds for. But that's where I'm going to say, and that's where I was going with this. Is his best case scenario is he becomes a high end backup. I even said the Giants trade for him, or somebody who maybe the Titans. Maybe the Titans just really don't want Dontrell Hilliard to be the guy after. But it's a situation where he's a high-end backup. I don't see any team trading for him to be the lead. And then even if he went to a team like the Broncos, he's just now in another mess of what he was just dealing with. So if you have to cut him, I think he's even behind Rachaad White right now.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And you and I both did this, me more than you even, I think, because I'm still holding out. I still held out hope, I should say. I still believed in Cam Akers, and unfortunately with this
I broke up with him before you did, which is interesting.
I know you did.
I love some Cam Akers.
I know. I've also broken up with Chase Edmonds. I had to call it quits. I wanted to give him one more shot.
Here, okay.
Leopard can't change its spots. There you go. Pour one out for my boy. My guy. My fantasy footballer's my guy. But that's what happens. We're not always right. If we were always right, we wouldn't be doing this because we would know the future. So that's just how it happens. But I did not expect something like this to happen with Cam Akers.
Now Barkley's coming over to see what I poured on the floor.
Oh, baby. Just why are you spilling all over the floor, Dad? That's weird.
Why are you wasting water, Dad? Idiot.
Oh, God.
All right.
That's funny.
Wide receiver time. And,
yay!
Well, yay, because I'm going to say the same thing I said, Lauren, and I'm just going to let you speak on this person because I have nothing left to say except Alec Mother Pierce. You go.
I am shocked and in awe that he is not on every single roster that it's in. So this is what impressed me the most about Alec Pierce in this most recent matchup that the Colts had against the Jaguars is not only did Alec Pierce score a touchdown, he had a decent amount of targets, but 3 of them were really only catchable. So he had 3 receptions on 7 targets, but he did get in the end zone. But what is the most astounding about this is that Michael Pittman blew up for 134 yards. Alec Pierce was still there. He's a thing. He's a thing. He's going to be a thing. Get him on your roster. Don't worry about it. Stop. Just go get him now. Put him on your roster.
Thank you. I like the comparison Bubs just made. He's the new Adam Thielen.
He is really the new Adam Thielen. That's a perfect comparison.
He just gets it done, especially in the red zone. There you go. Good call on that for Bubs. All right, so let's continue down wide receivers for this week. I've had Michael Gallup in there since like week 1. Actually, I had him in the preseason. I said draft him, and I said stash him, and then stash him when he's healthy, and then he's going to be the number 2. And now we get return of the deck. And Michael Gallup's the number 2 at Dak Prescott. Tell me, Lauren, maybe why are people not so high on Michael Gallup that he's still out there in so many leagues?
This is so funny. I feel like this is almost a contagion from Kenny Galladay. I feel like people are looping him in the same gross bubble bucket as Kenny Galladay. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I can trust Michael Gallup. Why? Well, I don't know. Like Kenny Galladay, same age-ish, hasn't really done anything. I don't know why people are, I mean, I'm the same way. I don't see Michael Gallup's name and think, oh, yay. I'm just kind of like, oh, do I trust him? I don't know. So we'll see. And I just think there's been way too much CeeDee Lamb, way too much Noah Brown going on in that offense for us to really remember just how good Michael Gallup is.
Okay, and I completely agree with you. I think the number 2 on this offense with Dak Prescott, and I still have a little bit of hope for Dalton Schultz, although that benching with a non-injury or inactive with a non-injury, I don't know what's going on with Schultz there. But if anything, it's Dak Prescott's back. That's what we were hoping for. And
this is not a good week for fantasy for B.
I was gonna say also, do you remember week 6 heading into week 6? It's like, oh, maybe the Cowboys have a quarterback controversy. Blah 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 blah. Shut the. But exactly. And then we just saw exactly why. All right, so I'm gonna have to cue you up for this next one because by waking up Barkley and taking her over for the water, now she has to go potty. So I have to go run away real quick.
I'll take over.
But I'll still be able to hear. No, you're good. Corey Davis. I want to get your opinion on Corey Davis, who since Zach Wilson has taken over has been the guy. Although this entire passing game has taken a huge step back with Zach Wilson at quarterback because they've gone run heavy, but also because of the emergence of Breece Hall. So. Corey Davis, but I want to loop into this conversation, Lauren. See how much I'm setting you up for? Mm-hmm. Last week, we gave the pass to drop Elijah Moore. So, Corey Davis, no, in a tight league, 10-team league, you said, okay, I can see that.
I did.
Tight. Well, so with Corey Davis still holding on as the 1, Garrett Wilson with a goose egg out there, is it Corey Davis and nobody else? And if you had to only keep one after Corey Davis, would it be Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore? And I'll be right back.
Yes. For me, I am an Elijah Moore truther when it comes to Zach Wilson. And while he is walking over there, I'm going to pull up some Pro Football Reference numbers for Elijah Moore when he was in the offense with Zach Wilson last year, when it was both Elijah Moore and it was Corey Davis, and everything was absolutely hunky-dory. And I loved it. So if I have to make my choice between either Corey Davis or Elijah Moore, I'm still going Corey Davis, especially if you are in PPR or half PPR leagues. It's just way, way too good. The offense is revolving around them. Well, last year, I think less so than this year because they didn't have someone like a Breece Hall. Because Michael Carter is decent, but he's no Breece Hall. So last year when the Jets, they're passing. Oh, wow. They ranked 13th in passing attempts with 603. Are you back yet? Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm back.
But let me go down. I'm looking.
I was listening, and just
hold on.
I think you're realizing how bad things are for the Jets passing game right now.
No, they're not. I'm trying to look back last year. Okay, so Elijah Moore, at the end of season totals for last year, Elijah Moore turned out to be the passing leader. So his, receiving leader. His targets were at 77, and Corey Davis was down to 59. Now, their yardage wasn't too bad. It's 538 versus 192, which I don't really hate. But, I mean, when you look at their touchdowns last season, it was absolutely disgusting. But that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about a second year of Zach Wilson, and we're talking about way more potential for touchdowns. So I still don't mind Elijah Moore. I still want Corey Davis over him. But if there is going to be a number 2 in that offense, it's going to be Elijah Moore, in my opinion. Garrett Wilson is good, but he's going to be a boomer bust wide receiver 3 who can really make hay on those deep downfield plays for a touchdown that you never know which week they're going to come. So for me, I'm an Elijah Moore girl simply because of what I know what Zach Wilson was able to do with him last year in his rookie year.
Okay. I am on the other side of this. I am Garrett Wilson. You know this because we had the conversation.
And I don't hate Garrett Wilson, though, either. That's the problem with this question is because I like all 3 of these wide receivers. So it's not that I dislike Garrett Wilson. We'll just make that
We're going to bring in the Jets versus kind of going forward here. So let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. Rondale Moore was possibly just temporary value, but now Marquise Brown could be out at least until it looks like the fantasy playoffs start, which, by the way, if you don't have IR spots, first, what the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. Second, unfortunately, Marquise Brown is droppable. You can't wait. And then first of all, you have to make the playoffs to be able to use playoffs. You have to use Marquise Brown in the playoffs. You have to get there. So he's unfortunately droppable. But Rondale Moore, they trade for Robbie Anderson. You mentioned that crazy situation before. Deep threat. DeAndre Hopkins is back this week. So Rondale Moore, if he's still out there, do you grab him if he sat out there because people are like, he's just a temporary guy? Or do you think Robbie Anderson is just going to muck this up outside of DeAndre Hopkins?
I really think that Robbie Anderson is going to be a giant pain in the offensive butt here. I really do. I really do. Because what is Rondale Moore? He's kind of their like boomer bust deep threat. And then now we've got Robbie Anderson. What's he? Boomer bust deep threat. It's really irritating. So as much as I love Rondale Moore, loved him last year too. Not as exciting as we really wanted him to be. I'm still taking Elijah Moore over Rondale Moore.
Would you take either over DJ Moore? Let's just get all the Moores in here. Let's get all the
just
moops.
Why not? It's a Moore party. Oh yes.
You missed my
God, I can't believe this is where we're at with DJ Moore. It's so painful. It hurts my soul. Like my soul turned black a little bit. I should just change my shirt to a black shirt to reflect how my soul feels.
So you're going Elijah, Rondale, DJ?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yes. No. Elijah, DJ, Rondale.
Okay. Okay. I think DJ's worth holding just as, like I said, I think he could possibly be traded, as I said, especially ends on somebody like, of course, everybody's like, the Chiefs, yeah. The Rams, I don't so DJ Moore and Allen Robinson dealing with that mess of an offense, I hope it's better. DJ Moore, I've seen people want him on the Ravens, and I'm like, why? This is just like a Bateman situation, and Bateman and Duvernay are going to completely go away. I think there's a few really good situations, but that's why I wouldn't drop DJ Moore. But if you're in a 10-team league, I can't see holding on to either. Though I disagree with you, obviously, on this one. The only one I would hold on to is Rondale Moore in case he keeps the middle game option, and Robbie Anderson's just Robbie Anderson.
If you can, if your roster can support it, I don't mind hanging on to Rondale Moore.
Well, that's true. Jiggles, we forgot one more move.
Oh, hi, Jiggles.
Sky Moore. So you got DJ, Rondale, Sky, all the Moores.
I'm really sorry for everyone who's watching. I know it's driving everybody crazy, but my hair is really, really messing with me. And then it keeps like bulging up and bunching around my neck and driving me crazy. So I do apologize that I keep fiddling with my hair. Yes, just I can't. It's so irritating right now. I'm really sorry that
I'm watching the show.
I know.
That was terrible. All right, more wide receivers. Josh Reynolds, a temporary fix. Don't know. It's early in the week. We don't know. We got word if DJ Chark is coming back after the Lions bye. But there is a returning Jameson Williams on the horizon. Yes. Though Josh Reynolds, even with Amon-Ra St. Brown back in the last game, did great. So, Josh Reynolds, how high up the list do you go for him?
You've got maybe 2 weeks left of Josh Reynolds before he becomes absolutely worthless. So if you are in a league where you do a lot of trades, or if you're in like a 14-team league and Josh Reynolds has another good game, I say go trade him away. Because honestly, once it's Jameson Williams,
would you pick him up
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Go ahead.
Out there? I was gonna say, but what if he's sitting out there on waivers? Would you pick him up, or would you pick up Josh Reynolds or Corey Davis?
Corey Davis, no questions asked. Corey Davis has rest of season, huge upside, as opposed to Josh Reynolds. And Corey Davis is not going to become irrelevant.
Josh Reynolds or Rondale Moore?
God, that's a really good one. Rondale Moore. That's a good one.
How about Josh Reynolds or Wandale Robinson?
Oh,
Giants...
Wandale Robinson all day long. He is my bestie. I love that kid.
So
Wandale
interesting
Robinson.
Enough.
I almost called him Rondale Moore because Rondale.
You almost have another Moore in there. Just everybody's last name is Moore. Welcome to the Moore Show.
Rondale.
So, Wandale Robinson schemed for in that game, but he wasn't even out there for 40% of the routes. The first game back, though. And they were making plays for him. A play that actually should have turned into a touchdown if you saw it. It was a definitive pick play by David Sills, by the way. Got away with a good one. That being said, the Giants clearly want to get him involved. This also being said, Lauren, he's like my size. For anybody that doesn't know, actually, he's smaller than me. I'm 6'1", 175. I'm a lightweight. This is why I would get killed if I ever played football. This is why I played safety and tried to tackle other people, and I still did not want to try and take anybody's square shoulders that was like 240 coming at me. That being said, like Wandale's a small dude. He's like 5'8" in my weight, even a little bit less possibly. So you know he's going to be slot, gadgety weapon, Tavon Austin-like. And I think that's maybe his peak, is that Tavon Austin one season where he was like 600, or 700, or something like that, rushing game and receiving game. But the excitement for the Giants around him, I think, has a cap, but there is value here. So are you saying Wandale Robinson? I'll go further up the list because you sound super excited about him. You're taking over Reynolds. You're taking over the Moores. Well, Rondale Moore and DJ Moore. Would you take Wandale Robinson over Corey Davis?
No.
Okay. So I think we reached your point there.
Yeah, that's my point there, is going
to
be...
Cole Beasley value?
Cole Beasley is so great. No.
He was always in the 30s?
Yeah.
No, but that's Wandale Robinson.
Yeah. I just... There's something about the way that... I don't have enough data on him in the NFL to really get numbers to back what I'm seeing on the screen, right? So when I'm watching him play, there's something about what he can do that is electric, and that is playmaking. Yeah, I love the way that he plays. So but just like you said, he's not going to be a huge volume guy in this offense. But when Daniel Jones can't find a lane to run, he's going to look for Daniel Bellinger, and then, or before that, he's going to pass it off to Saquon Barkley. If that's all bottled up, the next person that he has been looking for has been Wandale Robinson. So
I will say something to look for is what I would say going forward for Wandale Robinson. Look for man-heavy defenses, and that's like the only way I think you could really limit Wandale is with a zone, because I don't care if you run a 4-2, he is snapping ankles left and right, and I don't. So if you see some man-heavy coverage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He is a great upside flex player against the right defenses, and I think he could just be stellar. But he's not an every week starter, but he's an explosive matchup player.
So for Nico Collins, headed into the Houston Texans bye, had been on a really? Well, hold on. Let me make my case for Nico Collins. I know you're not saying over Wandale Robinson, but pick up in general. The 2 weeks before they head into the bye, he had just about double the receiving yards of Brandon Cooks. Nico Collins has been coming on.
Oh, your boo?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks.
Can you tell how much Texans I've watched?
Hopefully not too much.
Not much.
Davis Mills has honestly taken a step back this. Well, that means Davis Mills, but he's not attempting as many plays downfield, 20+ yards. He's not hitting Brandon Cooks as much as he was. His touchdown rate is down. He's passing more to the running backs in general, targeting wide receivers less. So, all that being said, I guess we could... Brandon Cooks was in the worry section. I was going to ask how many ducks you would give him. So, I guess this is a dual-part question. Do you have interest level of picking up Nico Collins, not over Wandale Robinson? And then 2, how worried are you? How many ducks does Brandon Cooks get?
Yeah, I'm not a believer in Nico Collins. And it's not because of Nico Collins himself. It's because of that offense. I think we all kind of figured out that this was going to be going through the ground, and with Dameon Pierce. So I'm not excited about Nico Collins. If I have to, I suppose that there are worse options besides Nico Collins. Now, for Brandon Cooks, what?
We're going to get to some of the worst options. Like, we still have to go. There's a few more wide receivers on this list that might help deeper leagues. So yes, there are worse options than Nico Collins.
Yeah, the problem with Brandon Cooks is exactly like you're saying. If the passing game is going to be diminishing in general, that also is going to be affecting not only Nico Collins, but especially Brandon Cooks, who really thrived as a PPR monster, very much like a Corey Davis in my view. So the ducks that I give him are probably like a 3 and a duck, or 3 and an egg, possibly a 4, as I just don't like that Houston offense.
I gave him 2 in an egg. So the other thing I referenced is David Mills' off-target percentage was 9.6 last year. It's up to 12 this year.
Ooh.
And his completion percentage, not surprisingly, is down 4 percentage points, to give you an idea of that. And Brandon Cooks, for the first 3 weeks, the air yard percentage of the team, 49, 24, 29, actually almost 30, but just 18 and 19 in weeks 4 and 5 before they hit their bye. Again, it's not getting those big plays from Davis Mills, especially the touchdowns. All right, so let's come back to waivers real quick. Marquez Callaway. Michael Thomas, I guess he stumbled across some of those hurdles that he was getting over in preseason. They were still there for the regular season because he tripped over one of them. Because who the hell knows what's going on with Michael Thomas at this point? Jarvis Landry is not back. Chris Olave is good to go for Thursday Night Football, but the number 2, and actually last week the number 1, has been Marquez Callaway. Do you throw him out there if you need wide receiver help this week? If you got maybe Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, those kind of options, do you go after Marquez Callaway knowing it might just only be a 1-week play?
You know what? I don't know if Marquez Callaway is going to be just a 1-week play. Don't forget, Jameson.
Because Michael Thomas may never return.
Well, there's that. But Jameis Winston loved Marquez Callaway when they were playing. Now, granted, it was on those deep, deep plays. So he's kind of more of a boom or bust kind of guy. But I feel like he's a little bit more boom than the bust side. So I have no problem picking up Marquez Callaway and playing him on an as-need basis, especially this week because of the buys. But he's a sneaky one I wouldn't mind hanging on to just to see how that relationship keeps developing with no Michael Thomas, banged up Jarvis Landry, and then you got Chris Olave now, which is going to be a huge benefit for Marquez Callaway as well, especially if Olave is going to be seeing double coverage. So I don't mind Marquez Callaway at all.
Okay. Oh, somebody dropped a Kenny Moore in the chat. Are you just going to start randomly naming Moores now?
There was someone else that said any of
Roger
the
Moore?
Ravens. He was my favorite Bond. Everyone's like, no, Sean Connery. I'm like, no, Roger Moore's my favorite Bond.
Oh, wow.
But
you just had a whole nother chat started for that one. Enjoy your comments. Or your
Someone
comments,
else is like,
your tweets.
the Ravens wide receivers, nevermore. I feel you.
Well, there you go. Duvernay should have had a touchdown in that game.
I know. I don't want to talk about it.
All right. Let's talk about the Patriots wide receivers then.
Let's do it.
So they're losing guys left and right, which has been good for the forgotten drafted wide receiver of Trent Thornton that everybody's super excited for, and then they forgot about him because he was out. And also the Patriots wide receivers are outside of Jacoby Myers. But Devontae Parker made some noise again last week. Devontae Parker's kind of like here and there. I was about to make the Roy Kent, but he's not. He's not here, there, and everywhere. He's sometimes here, he's sometimes there. Roy Parker, that's who he is. Isn't that an actor, Roy Parker? I don't know. Maybe Ray Parker is the actor. Never mind. I have no idea what's going on. Devontae Parker and Trent Thornton. If you only had to pick up one, would you play the long game with Trent Thornton, or would you just pick the person who's producing right now because Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne are both hurt?
Yeah, this one's... I would love to put my faith into Thornton because I feel like Devontae Parker is like 85 years old. I'm still going Parker. Still going Devontae Parker.
Yeah, it is gross.
Yeah.
If I don't need anybody, I would just play the long game with Thornton, but I don't know that. Honestly, Billy Zappi might be better for the offense.
I love Billy Zappi. He's freaking awesome.
For the fantasy production. Like, I'm not a Zappi fan. I mean, you can go look at my draft profile about him.
I'm going to get a jersey.
Oh, because he threw for 6,000 yards almost at Western Kentucky. He wasn't even at Kentucky. He was Western Kentucky. He's like
whatever.
Let
the little fish hang out in the big pond, okay?
They played ODU. That just gives you an idea. By the way, Tyler Heineke.
I was just gonna say.
I gotta bring down my jersey for tomorrow.
I was waiting for that to come up.
Tyler Heineke is back, which might be better. Terry McLaurin, hope again. Like, this might be better. The only thing different between Carson Wentz and Tyler Heineke, I wrote this in the offseason, the only thing better is the touchdown-to-interception ratio, which wasn't better this year. And Heineke playing balls out like he loves to do could just be what we always... I keep saying he was kind of like back in the day with Gardner Minshew with the Jaguars. Like, that's what he feels like to me.
Just Heineke at all. I love that guy.
Okay, so 2 wide receivers... different situation than most of what we've been talking about right now. This is purely looking at upside because you'll see why. Jahan Dotson, IR. Treylon Burks, IR. Both of them are sitting out there. We've mentioned some gross situations. The Patriots situation, Marquez Callaway, Nico Collins, not a big fan of. Rondale Moore. if you don't need a starter, you're good for buys. You've avoided the injury bug mostly. Between Dotson and Burks, who are you more likely to stash right now?
Oh, this is tough. I think I'm leaning Dotson on this, and the reason why is because of his big playability. Now, granted, that was with Carson Wentz. Well, it was because of Carson Wentz that he had that big playability, but he showed absolute athleticism and talent trying to catch passes from Carson Wentz. And I do like Taylor Heineke better than I like Carson Wentz. So hopefully that they can mesh and they can gel and they can turn into a few more targets. I think I can't believe I'm saying this, but I trust Taylor Heineke more than I trust Ryan Tannehill.
Interesting. Well, also the offense too. You actually get a decent amount
offensive
of
scheme because there's no Derrick Henry on the. Well, Brian Robinson's really good, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go Dotson.
Let's pull in the Packers to the Sitch conversation then, because Randall Cobb is out for multiple weeks. Christian Watson has a ton of upside. He needs to get healthy, but he's about to come back. And Romeo Doubs, outside of 2 weeks, has been disappointing, and partly, not the same page. It's funny, Lauren. I said if you're in a slim league, or you have injuries, bye weeks, or whatever. When I put Dumpsville, I put Dobbs, and I said because Watson's coming back, Rodgers is the slot option for no Randall Cobb. Dobbs had 2 good weeks, hasn't been on the page, hasn't been seeing target. Well, I mean, he has been seeing targets. He hasn't been seeing the connection with Rodgers. He's been hit and miss. Part of it's been Rodgers. Part of it's been Dobbs' own fault. It's been both of them. They're both at fault here. But the pushback I got on Dobbs, holy crap. If you have Dobbs out there, by the way, you want to talk about being able to sell somebody who's disappointing, go float some offers for Dobbs, because people are making apologies left and right for him because it's back like the preseason again. So I guess I'll ask you this. I think it's clear for you that if it's my team, I'm going Watson, Dobbs, then Rodgers, because Rodgers is just the Cobb replacement. But do you have a different ranking?
No, I have the same ranking. I'm avoiding that situation entirely, though. I don't trust Christian Watson. He dropped way too many passes for my liking, big ones. I'm staying away from it. But yes, if I had to rank them, that is what I would do.
Would all of them be behind Dotson and Burks?
Yes.
Okay, including Dobbs.
Correct.
Okay. Real quick, I put this in. Well, no, we're going to get to the Warriors. So hold on the Curtis Samuel. I see Lee Ving asking about him. And that's kind of why I didn't touch on him real quick with the Washington Commanders. So Jameson Williams, we mentioned, is coming back soon. Van Jefferson's coming back soon. KJ Hamler had a nice big play in that game. Sky Moore, we referenced before with all the Moores. One of those 4 who are 2, who do you like from that group? Is it Jameson Williams and then maybe anybody else, or who would you stash? Again, this is stashing if you have room, because we're at that point. This is similar to running backs. We want upside now. You don't want, granted, Zay Jones is still out there for waivers, but what is Zay Jones? Zay Jones you find on the waivers every single week. If it's not Zay Jones, it's somebody named a different one who's still Zay Jones.
Exactly. For me, I'm definitely stashing Jameson Williams, but I think another name that you might be able to pick up and play is KJ Hamler. So he has been able to step up quite nicely. And if this weird game that we saw on Monday night is going to be turning into Russell Wilson starting to pass a little bit more with no, 1-2 punch between Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, KJ Hamler was sneakily utilized. So I think aside from Williams, I think I would take KJ Hamler as well. But the other 2, no.
Can we, while we're burying Russell Wilson for this fantasy season, can we also bury the freaking Russ's cooking Russ and put him in the kitchen? Can we stop? I was trying to stop it a year ago.
I haven't heard that as much with Russell Wilson. The one I just
oh my god, were you not paying attention for the first half last night when he completed the first 10 passes?
I love Joe Buck. I can't stand listening to Aikman. It's like Collinsworth. All they do is talk too much. It's like, I'm trying to watch the game. Please stop talking.
All right. Well, I'm bringing back a segment, Lauren. It's usually about this point of the season, and anybody who's read my column knows this segment. It is Unbreak My Heart, Say You Love Me Again. Yep, that's about all you're going to get, and that was terrible. But it is back. Unbreak My Heart is back because has Darnell Mooney warranted our heart-mending fences with Darnell Mooney and putting him back into our lives? It's 3 straight productive, that I put in quotes, games where he's been a wide receiver 4 and 0 touchdowns, but he's gotten the yards. Fields is actually passing a little bit more. So Darnell Mooney, is he back in your heart? And if he is, how high up this list does he go?
I mean, he brought me flowers to my front door and asked me out on a date again. So I'm okay with that. I'm not like getting ready to like, jump back into like we're going steady. But like I can go for a cup of coffee.
You're not ready to couple skate?
No, I'm not ready for that yet. It's too much. I'm ready to flirt with it.
Darnell Mooney or Corey Davis?
Corey Davis.
Darnell Mooney or any of the Moores? All of the Moores.
Darnell Mooney.
Okay. I think Darnell Mooney or Josh Reynolds.
Because I forgot about Elijah. No way. No. Not no.
Okay.
All the other Moores except for Elijah.
Okay. Rondale, Josh Reynolds or Darnell Mooney?
Darnell Mooney.
Wandale, your new boo.
No. Wandale Robinson over Darnell Mooney.
Okay. All right. Then let's get out of here with some worries. Aaron Jones is on the worry report because everybody's panicking. Everybody's like, hey, fix this problem, Jake. Talk up A.J. Dillon so Aaron Jones happens. But this is what I said, Lauren. Guess what? If you drafted Aaron Jones, this is what you bought into. You just didn't know you were buying it.
We say it every year.
Here's the thing. Jones snap, this is crazy, Lauren. Jones snap percentage is up from last year, 58 to 63. Slight downtick in pass snap percentage, 66 to 63. Very small. Rush attempts per game, team target percentage, both about the same. Yards per carry, up a ton. You know what the difference is? Touchdowns.
Yes.
That's Aaron Jones had, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Aaron Jones last year, 38.5% of his fantasy production came in 3 games. This is who Aaron Jones is. I gave him a duck and 1 egg just in case they start to 50-50 split more with A.J. Dillon, but this is who Aaron Jones is. He's just touchdown and big game reliant.
I just feel like this is a deja vu all over again. Was I wearing a pink shirt and a hat the last time we had this exact same conversation last season? I really feel like I was wearing the same outfit and everything. Yeah, this is,
right,
and I said the same thing. Like, I'm not giving him a ton of worry because this is exactly what he is. And if you didn't know that, now you do.
So last one before we get out of here. Lauren, we've done Infinity Duck. We've done, Zero Ducks, Ducks and the Eggs. We've done all this type of stuff. I have a brand new one, kind of. I'm actually giving away 2 ducks and 2 eggs, if that's possible, because very quickly, this player could go from 2 ducks to 4 in 1 week.
Oh, I see.
Could be a huge jump because it's Jeff Wilson. Because the Shanahanigans have started. Tyrion Davis-Price, 1 field snap. Tevin Coleman's been a thing, but Elijah Moore is around the corner in a few weeks. I think Elijah Moore could just turn back into a competition. Could be the lead. Who the hell knows? Shanahanigans are here. Jeff Wilson, how concerned are you?
Very, very, very. And I will 100% agree with you, except I would make it 3 ducks and an egg. That's how concerned I am for Jeff Wilson. Not
3
even
ducks and 2 eggs? So you can go from a 3 to a 5?
No. 3 ducks and 1 egg. But I do kind of like that, too, because I am very worried about Jeff Wilson Jr.
It's definitely concerning. The only thing that you can say is the snap percentage has gone down, but last week's game was kind of out of hand early, which is weird. They were down 14-0 all of a sudden. And so maybe, but yeah, the Shanahanigans look like they might be around the corner. I saw one question in here. Yes, I would drop Kareem Hunt for ETN because ETN's happening. As we said, ETN would be happening. James Robinson's not dead. Do not drop James Robinson. Still getting the goal line carries. Trevor Lawrence stole 2 touchdowns. Oh my God. From James Robinson.
Like I said, this was not a good fantasy week for Lauren.
This was not. But what would be good is to continue to follow Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren. Follow her on FTN, code ALLIN. Get you 20% off. Go to The Athletic, the waivers, the ranks, out at midnight on Tuesday, depending on when you're listening to this in your area. And grab Alec Pierce and stop screwing around.
Do it.
See you tomorrow.